Price of Jet A1, cooking gas on the decline as the federal government removes subsidy. Well, the controversy over subsidy continues, but again, there's a respite for Nigerians as the price of Jet A1, that is the aviation fuel, and that of cooking gas, where most Nigeria patronize, is also on the decline. Welcome to Business Daily. I am Yusuf Akogu. We take our top stories. Glad to have you back. Now we take you to the stock market to show you how the data ended yesterday on the floor. The market is on now, but again, we will give you the data as it went down yesterday, Tuesday, from the market. We start with the market snapshot. Of course, the market closed positive there, 0.42%. on the day, and of course, if you look at the volume of trade, 322.494 million volume of shares. In terms of value, 5.824 billion, and of course, the deal 6,165 deals exchanged yesterday. We go to the gainers for the day. We have the likes of Transat, as it is called, 4.4 naira it gained yesterday to close at 10%. And of course, if you look at Entana Oil, 11 naira 15 kobo it gained there to close at 9.85%. And of course, Farmadec also closing positive there, 9.52%. On the loser charts, we have the like of John Hotz losing 1 naira 55 kobo to close negative 9.88%. And of course, if you look at the Multiverse, Multiverse is a mining and exploration industry, losing 3.7 T-Kobo there to close in the negative 9.54%. And of course, Shelaram closing our top three for today, down 9.52%. In terms of the activity chart, we look at the top trades. We have the like of United Bank for Africa doing 47.1 million volume of shares, and of course Access Bank, as well as Guarantee Trust Bank also dominating the activity chart for the day. Of course, all of them in the banking sector. In terms of sector performance, we have the banking sector is down 0.05%. NJS Industrial also down 0.02%. Of course, consumer goods up there 0.21%. Of course, oil and gas also strong there, 1.02%. In terms of the insurance sector, 0.57%. Of course, it's 2/3 that we have from what happened on the market yesterday. The rest of Africa, we look at how the market closed in Tunisia. Tunisia Stock Exchange closed negative there, 0.35%. And of course, if you go down to Namibia in the Southern Africa, the market also closed negative 0.04%. But down there in Nairobi, it closes positive 0.40%. Interesting development across markets in Africa. We'll continue to monitor and give you update as it unfolds. Now we talk about our discussion for the day. We are looking at the fuel subsidy removal and, of course, the negotiations that is ongoing between the federal government and NLC as well as TUC and other unions. So we'll discuss that immediately we come back from this short break. Don't go away.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secured are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. We move straight into our discussion. First, subsidy. And of course, the planned strike that was meant to happen today was actually shelved after TUC and NLC had that meeting with the federal government. But the Nigerians and of course some interest group are actually asking whether NUC and TUC are in a way being bought over by the federal government. And I have with me in the studio Benson Upa, Head of Information and Public Affairs, NLC. Glad to have you on Business Daily.
Thank you very much.
Also on the show is Fanuel Lawrence, Investment Advisor and CEO, Green Peak Shelter. Glad to have you here as well.
My pleasure.
So let me start with you, comrade. Is your union being bought over? That's the accusation you are facing right now.
I mean, how much are we worth? How much have we been given? Curiously, as far as we're concerned, no one came out publicly to say we're going to protest against it. We did. We raised our hands up and we have brought our hands down. And there are cogent reasons for this.
Interesting. Nigerians will want to know.
Yeah. Well, we protested against the mindless increase in the pump price of petroleum products. No relation, there is no correlation between capacity and price. We also said, well, the template shrouded in misery, not made known. How they came to arrive at that. We had our suspicions, right, because in the time past, the templates were nasty and had criminal content to the point of making them already a permanent fixture. Of course, we're aware in coastal and ex-coastal charges, including haulage, storage, handling charges, lightning, MPA, NIMASA, marine jetty charges, wholesale, all those, all those things are usually built into it. And each one of these entities is making profit on you and the end consumer. We also say, well, if we have a deregulation now, why fix price caps? We also say, why don't you throw open? Let people, those who are competent, to bring in this commodity and let them come in.
Allow the market forces to determine.
But here we are fixing price caps and NNPC acting like the bull in the China shop as an operator and as a regulator. Okay? And here we have a situation of unholy monopoly. We also felt that by the provisions of the Appropriation Act 2023, that subsidy was supposed to run through June to the end. Why did Mr. President, on his inauguration day, choose to take out subsidy 1 month before time?
Maybe the president was misunderstood.
He was not misunderstood, because a day or two after that, NNPC now announced the new
price template.
Yes, yeah. I mean the new price template. And we asked, why did you do that? NNPC said, well, leakages, you know. But of course, that you could say that to children. So we also say, well, that Mr. President was breaking the law. He broke the law because the Appropriation Act is a law. If you violate it, if you observe it in breach, it is not fair, and that should not be coming from Mr. President. He should apologize to us.
Indeed, comrade. Let me hold you there. Let me bring in Mr. Lawrence into the conversation. You have heard this submission regarding why their strike is being shelved and some of the issues that he has raised with regard to subsidy as well. So what is your take on it?
Yeah, my take is that I think it was very reasonable for the organized labor and the TUC to, the NLC, to shelve the plant industrial action. Reasons being that we find ourselves between the devil and the deep blue sea. Subsidy, is subsidy a good thing? Yes, subsidy is a good thing. And Nigeria is not the only country that subsidizes products. America, they subsidize agriculture. UK, they subsidize agriculture and so many things, education, health, and all of that. But the problem has always been the application, the way and manner in which this whole subsidy affair is being handled in the country. That is the problem. And I would like to take you back to what even brought us here. You would quite remember that subsidy was introduced in Nigeria in the early 70s as a measure to mitigate the impact of the rising oil prices. And as at then, we only had the Port Harcourt refinery that was functioning. And the government needed to take certain actions. So our local production did not meet demand. And what we were importing was going to be very expensive. So government ventured into it. And by 1977, Obasanjo formalized it. So subsidy was not a bad thing, and subsidy is not a bad thing. But over the years, subsidy has been abused. Now we have a situation where, with the current figures we have, it tells us that the country has expended over 10 trillion naira in the last 14 years. Now, yes, and there is nothing to show for, because it has not benefited us in any way. It has not benefited the economy, neither has it benefited the common man on the street. If you take 10 trillion naira and you invest 10 trillion naira consistently for 14 years, there will be so much to show for in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of schools, in terms of hospitals. Maybe
perhaps that's why we call our own subsidy here an organized crime, maybe.
Yes, of course, it is. So now when you look at what is happening, I like the fact that the Nigerian Labour Congress, I give it to them, they are being very reasonable. And for anybody to, anyway, that's my opinion, but for anybody to say the Labour Congress has been bought over because they want to sit down and dialogue with government, I think that is wrong. Now, should we have gone on the street, shut down the economy? Are we also considering the cost of shutting down the economy for a day, what that does to us? Now, for me as a businessman...
You can also consider the sufferings of Nigeria as well.
Yes, but the thing is that they say two wrongs cannot make a right. So the reasonable thing for both parties to do is what they are doing, to sit down and dialogue.
Okay, Mr. Fano, let me bring in Comrade again. Comrade,
yes.
Suspending this strike,
yes,
you have itemized some demands that you want the government to meet. One of them is the minimum wage should be reviewed. Of course, the other demands include fixing of our refineries as well. So, and I understand you're also meeting with the government on the 19th of June. According to the report I read, this current price will remain until June 19, when you're going to engage the government again. So, to what extent or how quickly do you think government can meet up this demand that you have highlighted?
Well, first, let me go over the items line by line. We said that a joint committee to review the proposal for wage increase or award should be set up, not just minimum wage, because not only the minimum wage earners were affected, everybody across board, including non-wage earners. Okay? We also said that we would review the World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme. With a view to including low-income earners in the program. You remember this $800 million?
Yeah, $800 million, yes. One bank grant,
yes.
Loan.
And we also said that we will revive the CNG conversion program earlier agreed with Labour as far back as 2021. The CNG is condensed natural gas. That scheme is to come in as an alternative to your PMS, and is priced at the moment at between 90 and 100 naira per liter equivalent. If you can measure gas with liquid, okay. But let me just 100 naira maximum per liter, per equivalent of liter. We said that we will look at issues hindering effective delivery of education sector and propose solutions to them. That is to ensure that we don't have a relapse of ASU strikes. Okay? We said we will establish a framework for completing and rehabilitating the nation's refineries, which I have here. I have a paper to show you that 11 trillion
has been expended on turnaround
11 trillion. Let me show you. 11 trillion spent on moribund refineries in 13 years and nothing to show for it. Where are those people? Shouldn't we go after them instead of shutting down our refineries?
Are you in a way advising the president to order maybe investigation?
Why not?
Into the refineries?
Nobody, let me tell you, no matter how highly placed, nobody is above the law. In fact, those who have brought us to this level, who have caused us so much pain, deserve to face the firing squad. You saw what happened in Turkey. Turkey after the earthquake. Some of those guys who stole from the victims in the shelter, they had their ears with, what do they use? Tapping off their ears. And then some of those people who were involved in shoddy construction, who used tires underneath, that led to the collapse of the buildings on a massive scale. They threw tires into pieces and pushed them into and shot them. Okay? So, look, time has come. You know, a drastic solution demands a drastic situation demands a drastic solution. So, I also said, let me come that we work on a framework to maintain our roads and expand our rail network. And there will be a joint committee to monitor all of this.
Interesting submission that you have.
So now, I mean, look at where in all this, why would anybody in the reasonable thinking say, oh, that NLC went and took money from the anyway. Whatever they want to say, they're to the opinion. So.
And nobody has actually said that. What he said that probably NLC has been bought over. But again, it also appears that the FG was dealing more with trade union Congress than the NLC. At the point, NLC were, in a way, not willing to engage the federal government.
I wouldn't say that that the federal government was dealing more with TUC than NLC. You know, on the first day, well, throughout the meetings, I was a participant. So let me just let me speak from the perspective of a participant,
an insider.
Yes. NLC made the point on the first day that it does not want to negotiate from a constrained position.
We insisted that the FG should revert back to the old price.
That consensus addendum should be observed and let us discuss freely, fairly and freely. And given the fact that subsidy is still running in law. And NLC also said that most of the people on government side that day did not have mandate. They may be occupying some positions. Of course, we had the CBN governor, we had the NNPC, MD, and etc., etc. But statutorily, there are people who negotiate on behalf of government with organized labor.
Of course, the new president is here to form his cabinet.
So wait now. So I mean, we raise those issues in order to cover our rear. But of course, at the second meeting, or do I call it third meeting now? So the second meeting that held on Sunday, because government did not meet those terms and conditions, we were not there. But the next meeting, we were there after some conversation.
The one that you eventually suspended the strike.
Yes.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Lawrence now. Would you say the president was hasty in taking off the subsidy, considering the fact that there was budgetary allocation for it until the end of June as well? But the NNPC GMD has also come out to say that the federal government is owing NNPC 2.8 trillion naira.
Well, I wouldn't want to say the president was hasty, because we've been dealing with this fuel subsidy removal for quite a long time now. Jonathan tried it. It didn't work. The cabal, those who are benefiting from the system, they frustrated his move. President Muhammadu Buhari came. He promised us, in fact, that was one of the first things we thought he was going to do. But until the expiration of his administration, he did not have the political will to do that. So I think for me, I would strongly commend our new president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He hit the ground running. Now, why so? Yes, I understand there are budgetary allocation for subsidy to run till June. But you see, looking at Nigeria, if you know the way Nigeria operates, now the decision to announce on the first day of his inauguration was the best decision, so that you can now begin to do damage control. Because if he waited for all of this, put certain cushioning effects in place and all of that before, because now when Jonathan came up with the idea, Jonathan, if you quite remember, Jonathan formed a team that was led by the then Minister of Finance, Konjo-Iweala. You had Desani Alison Madueke. You had the then CBN governor. They went around the country holding town meetings, trying to sensitize people, trying to engage people. But what was the end result? So the thing here is that the cabal is very strong. So the only way to deal with to handle this is to go headlong the way the president has done. So I commend the president for that. And already now, yes, now everything is beginning to, okay, we're beginning to negotiate. Of course, over time, water must find its level. You understand? But the deed has been done. What needs to be done is done.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, Mr. Fanwell, yeah, we were on the same page all this while, but now we've come to the parting point. First, I must draw your attention to the point I made earlier on, that the Appropriation Act 2023 is a law. When you act outside it, it's an offense, it's a violation. So when the president unilaterally reviewed that law without recourse to the National Assembly, he was committing an impeachable offense on the Eagle Square. That is the first point I have to make to you. He didn't have the capacity to his own, without recourse to the National Assembly, to violate the content of that. And two, when you said that by ambushing Nigerians, he acted in good faith, I would say no. The damage that has been caused by this lack of preparation, by this lack of consultation, is enormous. It is incalculable. As it is, many Nigerians are unable to go to their places of work or to where they earn a living. To the extent that some states now are giving some days off. Okay? What would it have cost Ashiwaju to say the next 1 month I'm going to engage with critical stakeholders on this matter and the way forward?
Comrade.
Now, and in any case, wait, another case, let me just explain this to you. It's not true that Jonathan Jonathan did his bit, even for Buhari, he did. In fact, the first thing he did in 2016,
comrade,
yes,
comrade, we are actually looking at time. We have a few more minutes to go.
And in any case, I want to show you something here. So I come with facts and figures.
Absolutely. We have also published some of these facts and figures in our sister publications. So, comrade, earlier you did make mention about the punishment that was meted to those who were responsible for the earthquake in Turkey.
Yes.
I think that has to be fact-checked to know authenticity of where that information is actually coming from.
Well, if you like, you can cross-check, you can whatever. But I generally do know that our justice system is sluggish.
It's not the same as that of
yes. It's sluggish.
We agree. We agree to that.
Yes.
Let's quickly see how we can wrap up now. Now that a position has been taken from the union perspective as it is now with federal government, if by June 19 the decision doesn't go in your favor, what next?
No, I read them out clearly to say that we will look at these issues together. And to a certain extent, facts still speak for themselves. So it's not going to be some kind of debate about whether we are wrong or we are right. Is that everybody will put the facts on the table. And they are verifiable facts. CNG, if you remember, it is stated here that it will be revived. This is not the first time that, you know, it was a project on which the government renewed.
Yes, comrade, I must hold you there. Yes. Let me give Mr. Lawrence the last final take on the show. Yeah,
for me, I would actually appeal to Nigerians. I see the situation is biting everybody. I'm a business owner, so I know how much the cost of business operations has risen in the past 2 weeks. Yes. But you know, if you look at the issue critically too, now while
the past 1 week, please.
For the past 1 week, sorry, yes. Yeah. Now, while the president made the pronouncement that subsidy no longer holds, it was very wrong for the NNPC GMD, somebody who is running a private business enterprise to fix price. Yes, it was very wrong.
But the price was fixed. In fairness to NNPC, that was after the meeting with Mr. President.
Yes, but that was not necessary. You understand? Now they could have done that in-house, and that is why that's what led to all this chaos that we are seeing.
We need to go
however,
and who gave NNPC the private company?
We need to go now. We'll have this discussion again. Comrade Benson Upa, Head of Information and Public Affairs, and I must thank you for coming on the show. And Fanuel Lawrence, Investment Advisor and CEO, Green Peak Shelters. I hope I get that right.
Yes.
I must thank you for your submission on the show. That's the much we can take today on Business Daily. I am Yusuf Akogu. Join us tomorrow for more.